Hi guys, it's Saturday. Welcome back to the den. So this week is challenge week. So originally what I had decided I was going to do for this week was a baking challenge, and then I realized I've baked so many times that it's not really much of a challenge. So then I thought, why don't I do a 24-hour challenge? Because in reality, staying awake for 24 hours is probably one of the hardest challenges that I could do at this point. I mean, yesterday I managed to make it till 9 o'clock before I passed out, so good going on my night off. So that's always fun. So this week what I've decided to do for the challenge is a homemade gummy challenge. Now this is kind of like a combination of baking and, well, candy making, I guess. So I've only made homemade gummies once before and they are honestly pretty terrible. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to try two different recipes. These recipes I haven't tried before, so I'm hoping that they turn out pretty good. So for the first one we need half a cup of fruit juice, 2 tablespoons of gelatin unflavored, so 2 packets, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. So what you're going to want to do with that one is just dissolve it in a pan, pour it into the molds. And for the second version, it's a Jello one. I've tried the Jello one before, but this one's a little bit different, so hopefully it'll taste a little bit better. I've heard you can add a pack of Kool-Aid to make it really sour. I would imagine you have to add a little bit of sugar to that to kind of sweeten it up a little bit, but I'm not going to try it with the Kool-Aid this time. I'm just going to try it as the recipe says. So for this one, version 2 is a box of Jello, 2 packets of unflavored gelatin, and 1/3 of a cup of water. So you're going to get less gummies with this recipe, which seems a little weird because there's more ingredients going into it, but we'll see how it turns out. So basically it's the same thing again, you just melt it all in a pan, pour it into the mold. So for this I bought a series of molds. I have flamingos, Hawaiian flowers, and bears. Now the bears are huge molds, so I don't know how big those gummies will turn out. I mean, I know how big they'll turn out, but I mean, I'm probably going to have to make them a little bit thinner than the others, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so it looks like this is a little bit darker, but I guess it'll have to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the pans on and get those heated up. So I already have all the ingredients all set out, ready to go here, so I'm just going to go ahead and start mixing them up in the pan and see how we go. So for the first one, like I said, it is a half a cup of fruit juice, 2 tablespoons of gelatin, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm going to take the fruit juice. This is all going to go in the bigger one. Yeah, because it's half a cup. So there's all the ingredients in the first one. So we'll just mix that up, make sure it's nice and dissolved. Essentially that's all you're doing is dissolving it. Start putting the ingredients in the second one. So we have 1/3 of a cup of water, package of Jello. I'm going with cherry. And again, 2 packets of gelatin. Alright, now right away I can tell this one is a lot thicker, and I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. So I want to make sure that these turn out somewhat decent, so I'm going to go nerd mode. There we go. So this way I can make sure I get everything all properly dissolved. So the fruit juice one I did is orange juice, so I'm hoping those turn out good. So I'll have cherry and orange flavored ones. Alright, so the fruit juice one with the orange juice is... And honestly, it doesn't look like it's going to yield a whole lot, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so those are both done. So now time to fill the molds. Now it says that you can scoop this foam off, that way the gummies don't look all hazy. But honestly, I don't really care. I kind of like those gummies with the white back. Now this is version 2, the Jello ones. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so there they are before they go into the fridge. We have the version 1, which is the orange juice, and we have version 2, which is the cherry Jello. So I'll pop them in the fridge and check them in 10 to 15 minutes and see how they turn out. The fruit juice ones weren't quite ready yet. So what I'm going to do is the Jello ones, I'm going to unmold the bears. Now I did do one, the really thin one. Don't know how well you can see in this light, but there's the thin one. So these, just a case of flipping them inside out and they pop right out. So these, so far I'm impressed with how they're turning out. Now the flamingos, these look like they are stuck. So these are stuck in there pretty good. Just be gentle and patient. And these could probably go a little bit longer. Yeah, so this one I ripped half of his face off. Better than the last time. They pretty much just taste like Jello though, so I've had store-bought gummies that taste worse. They're pretty cherry full. Yeah, so those are, I like the way that the Jello ones turned out. The molds themselves, I would try and stick with something that's not quite so intricate, because you may have a hard time getting them out of the mold, like this. So I don't know how well you can see, but I'm basically just trying to flip the mold inside out as best I can and slowly just pull the gummy away. Well, only lost part of that one. So I'm thinking these ones I may need to let sit a little while longer. So I'm going to throw them back in the fridge for a few more minutes and try them out again. Okay, so yes, Tuffy. Yes, honey. Daddy's making gummies. Yeah, you gotta wait. I'll get your treat after, okay? Alright, love you. Love you. I got your treat, you gotta wait. Okay, so I've got a couple of the fruit bears now. So I'm gonna try these. Oh, these are popping right out. Super, super easy. Okay, so I'll try and see if I can show you. Yeah, that just pops right out. So I'm thinking I need to buy more of these bigger molds because they seem to work great. So these are the fruit ones. Let's see how they are. They still seem a little tacky. I think the problem is they're thicker than the bears, so they're gonna take a little bit longer to properly set all the way through. Yeah, I'm just tearing these. For the thicker molds, let them go a little while longer, but I want to try one of these anyway, and seeing as how I've already destroyed it, we'll try the real fruit one. The gelatin in it is very light. It's not very chewy. It kind of falls apart pretty quickly. But the orange juice gives it a nice citrusy flavor. These ones are good. If I were to make them again, I would probably add another packet of gelatin and try and make them a little bit firmer. But again, I'm going to throw them back in the fridge and see how they turn out in another 10 minutes or so. Alright, so it's been a few minutes longer now, so I'm going to try the Jello ones again and see if they've set up a little bit better. They feel a little bit firmer. Alright. Got them out. Okay, so that's really, really sticky still. So they're pretty sticky still. I'm going to try and work away at them and see if I can get a few more out of the mold. I may have to throw them back in the fridge for a little while longer, but I will check back with you in a minute and see how they turned out. Alright, so I got all the Jello ones out of the molds. Now I found that they were really, really sticky. So what I did is I got a little bowl with a little bit of sugar, just tossed them around and made little sugared gummies. Now I tried one already, and honestly, with the flavor of the Jello, the sugar actually enhances it, and they taste more like an authentic gummy with the sugar on them. So I guess it's a bit of a happy surprise that I decided to do this. Alright, now those seem a lot more solid, so there they are. So I'm going to see if these will pop out fairly easily. Oh yeah. So I think when the recipe says 10 minutes, in my fridge it's probably more like 20. I have a lot of food and jars of stuff in there, so I guess it really depends on what you have in your fridge. This is a lot more simple of a pattern than the flamingo, so they're definitely popping out a lot easier. So definitely with the real fruit, I'm going to have to use more gelatin next time, because this is just a little bit too weak. They're too fragile. They taste just like Turkish Delight without the powdered sugar. So for the real fruit ones, I think if I were to do them again and I wanted to use the same amount of gelatin and just turn them into Turkish Delight, I would just do it in a pan and then cut it into squares and then just toss it around in the icing sugar. I think that would work out a lot easier, and then you don't have to fiddle with the molds and you still get the same delicious flavor with the soft, chewy, gelatiny goodness. Oh, is it coming out of the mold? Okay, mostly. Yeah, it's funny. Some of them I flip the mold inside out and it just pops right out, and others they just catch and tear, and oh, it's just an awful mess. Alright, so there's the gummies. So we have the real fruit ones here. This is one of the ones that tore. And then we have the Jello ones, which I tossed in regular granulated sugar, and they are actually quite delicious. So we have the bears down here. So there they are. So here we have the real fruit one on the left, and we have the Jello one on the right. I'm going to enjoy these gummies. They turned out pretty delicious, so now I just need to find a good movie to watch with them. If you guys have made any homemade gummies and you have any suggestions or alternate recipes, let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Take care.